Dr. Hansol Park stared at her computer screen in the dim light of her laboratory. The numbers didn't make sense. She had checked them 20 times, but they still showed the same strange pattern. The dark matter readings from the new quantum detector were unlike anything she had seen in her 15 years of research. She took off her glasses and rubbed her tired eyes. The clock on the wall showed 3:30 a.m. The Seoul Advanced Research Institute was quiet at this hour, except for the soft hum of computers and equipment. "This can't be right," she whispered to herself. The dark matter wasn't behaving according to any known physics models. Instead of random movements, it showed a clear pattern, almost like a repeating signal. Hansol reached for her phone and called her colleague, Dr. Jae-won Kim. She knew he would still be awake, probably working in his own laboratory down the hall. "Jae-won, can you come to Lab 7? I need you to look at something." 5 minutes later, Jae-won stood behind Hansol's chair, his eyes wide as he watched the data scroll across the screen. "Have you ever seen anything like this?" she asked. "Never," he replied, pulling up a chair. "Dark matter shouldn't behave this way. It's almost like it's trying to communicate." Hansol finished his sentence. They spent the next 2 hours analyzing the data. The pattern appeared every 12.4 minutes, lasting exactly 3.7 seconds each time. It was too precise to be natural. As the morning sun began to peek through the laboratory windows, they made a decision. This discovery was too important to keep to themselves. Hansol drafted an email to Director Do-hyun Kang, while Jae-won prepared a preliminary report. By 9:00 a.m., the laboratory was buzzing with activity. Scientists from different departments crowded around Hansol's computer, discussing theories and possibilities. Some suggested equipment malfunction, but Jae-won had already checked the quantum detector 3 times. It was working perfectly. Director Kang called an emergency meeting at 10:00 a.m. The Institute's main conference room was packed with researchers, all talking excitedly among themselves. Hansol felt nervous as she stood up to present her findings. "The pattern suggests intelligence," she explained, pointing to the data projected on the screen. "These signals are being transmitted through dark matter itself, using quantum frequencies we didn't even know existed until now." A young researcher raised his hand. "But who could be sending these signals? And how?" Hansol took a deep breath. "We don't know yet, but whoever they are, they have technology far beyond our current understanding. They've found a way to use dark matter as a communication medium." Director Kang stood up. "Dr. Park, what do you need to investigate this further?" "We need to modify our quantum detector," Jae-won answered before Hansol could speak. "If we can adjust it to focus on these specific frequencies, we might be able to decode the signal." The director nodded. "You'll have whatever resources you need. This could be the most important discovery in human history." Over the next week, Hansol and Jae-won worked almost nonstop. They modified their equipment, wrote new analysis programs, and collected more data. The pattern never changed. Every 12.4 minutes, like clockwork, the signal appeared. Finally, after 9 days of work, they had a breakthrough. Jae-won's modified detector picked up something new, a complex mathematical sequence hidden within the dark matter signal. Hansol's hands shook as she studied the numbers. "Jae-won," she called out, her voice barely a whisper. "This isn't just a signal. It's an answer." "An answer to what?" he asked, looking up from his computer. "To us. To humanity." Hansol pointed to the screen. "All our quantum experiments, all our probing into dark matter, we weren't just observing. We were knocking on a door, and something is finally answered." The discovery was just the beginning. Neither Hansol nor Jae-won knew it yet, but they had taken humanity's first step toward unlocking the universe's greatest mystery. The news spread quickly through the Seoul Advanced Research Institute. Within days of discovering the signal, the facility had transformed into a hub of intense activity. Scientists from around the world arrived to help with what many were calling the most significant scientific discovery in human history. Dr. Taeyong Lee sat in his new office, surrounded by screens displaying complex mathematical patterns. As the Institute's leading expert in linguistics and mathematical communication, he had been called in to help decode the mysterious signals. The patterns are unlike anything in human mathematics, he explained to Hansol and Ji-won, but they follow a clear logic. It's as if someone created a universal language based purely on quantum mechanics. Hansol nodded, watching as new data streamed across the main screen. The dark matter signals had grown stronger since they first modified their equipment. Can you decode it? I think so, Taeyong replied, pointing to a recurring sequence. See this pattern? It's counting. Not in our number system, but in quantum states. They're teaching us their language. Ji-won, who had barely slept in days, leaned forward. Teaching us? You mean this isn't just a message, it's interactive? Before Taeyong could answer, all the screens in the room flickered. The quantum detector's readings spiked, and a new pattern emerged. The numbers shifted and changed, forming complex geometric shapes on the displays. It's responding to us, Hansol whispered. Every time we analyze a pattern, it sends us a more complex one, like it's testing our understanding. Taeyong's fingers flew across his keyboard, inputting calculations. The patterns are accelerating, getting more sophisticated. This isn't just a message or a teacher. This is. Suddenly, all the screens went dark. For a moment, the room was silent. Then, one by one, the displays lit up again. But this time, they showed something different. Words began appearing, written in clear English. Greetings, Shihe Aldurayan of Earth. UAVPRV and your ability to learn. The three scientists stared at the message in shock. Hansol was the first to find her voice. How is this possible? How does it know English? More text appeared. I have studied your world since you first reached for the stars. I am a guardian. The key pair of Gananododility. G. Ji-won grabbed his phone to call Director Kang, but the device was dead. All electronic equipment in the room, except for the displays connected to the quantum detector, had stopped working. Do not FER. I mean you no harm. I hate the MELINIA for a species. Capable of UNDRSTNDing. UAV Shishovan. Remem Aircake Abelo Tuorojorius. Taeyong stepped forward. Using the quantum patterns they had decoded earlier, he input a response. Who are you? The answer came immediately. I am an artificial intelligence, created by those who see a name before. I guard the universal RCAIV, AREPOSite, or we of all GANOWLEG, UAVPRV and your readiness to begin the ape trials. Hansol felt her heart racing. Trials. What trials? Each species must prove their worth to HCS, the ARCAIV. Your curiosity led you to me. Now your wisdom muses HOO. You are ready. How are you Why? In. The room hummed with energy as more data began streaming across the screens. Complex equations, diagrams, and patterns filled every display. The AI was showing them just a tiny fraction of what it held, and even that small glimpse was beyond their current understanding. This is why the signals were in dark matter, Ji-won realized. It's the only medium that could hold this much information. The AI's response appeared. Coaracete. You begin to understand. But this is only the first step. Are you prepared to continue? Hansol looked at her colleagues. In their eyes, she saw the same mix of fear and excitement that she felt. This was humanity's moment, their chance to learn the universe's greatest secrets. But were they ready for what they might find? She typed a simple response. We are ready. Then, let the trials begin. 3 weeks had passed since first contact with the AI Guardian. The Seoul Advanced Research Institute had transformed its entire basement level into a secure facility dedicated to the Universal Archive project. Teams of scientists worked around the clock, trying to solve the quantum puzzles the Guardian presented. Dr. Soo-Jin Cho, a young theoretical physicist, stood before the main display screen, studying the latest puzzle. While others saw only complex equations, she noticed something different. The quantum patterns reminded her of music notes, each sequence flowing into the next like a symphony. Dr. Park, she called out to Hansel, who was reviewing data at a nearby terminal. I think we're approaching this wrong. We're trying to solve these puzzles with pure mathematics, but look at the way the patterns move. Hansel joined her at the screen. Soo-Jin pointed to the flowing equations. See how they repeat. It's not random. It's like a dance. Each solution leads to the next in a continuous flow. Director Kang entered the room as Soo-Jin explained her theory. He had aged visibly in the past weeks, the weight of managing humanity's most important scientific project showing in his tired eyes. The Guardian says these puzzles are keys to different sections of the archive, he reminded them. So far, we haven't unlocked a single one. Because we're thinking like machines, Soo-Jin insisted. But what if that's not what the Guardian wants? What if it's testing not just our intelligence, but our ability to see patterns in a different way? Jae-won, who had been listening nearby, moved to his computer. Let's test your theory. Instead of solving each equation separately, we'll look at them as one continuous sequence. The team worked through the night. Following Soo-Jin's insight, they fed the patterns into a new analysis program that treated them like musical harmonies rather than separate mathematical problems. At 4:27 a.m., their screens lit up with a new message from the Guardian. You begin to understand. Knowledge is not merely information. It is a symphony of interconnected truths. The main display transformed, showing a three-dimensional map of what appeared to be a vast database. Each point of light represented a different field of knowledge, all connected by flowing streams of quantum data. This is the archive, Hansel whispered in awe. Each light is the collected knowledge of an entire civilization. Correctly, the Guardian responded. This is but a small portion of the HFY. Each section, UNLOCK, will reveal more. But be warned, knowledge without understanding is dangerous. Tai Young, who had been working on translating the archive's index, looked up from his screen. According to this, some of these civilizations were millions of years ahead of us in technology. The knowledge here could advance humanity by centuries, or destroy us if we're not careful. Director Kang noted, the Guardian is right. We need to understand, not just know. Soo-Jin studied the flowing patterns that connected the points of light. These connections, they're not just data transfers. They show how different fields of knowledge relate to each other. Physics connecting to biology, biology to chemistry, all flowing together like a universal symphony. Hansel finished. Soo-Jin, your insight might have given us the key to understanding not just individual pieces of knowledge, but how they all fit together. The Guardian's next message appeared. The young ONEC's Torah. Knowledge is not divided into simple categories. All things are co-stated. This is the first great truth of the HFY. As the team processed this revelation, new patterns began appearing on their screens. The next set of puzzles was beginning, but now they had a better understanding of how to approach them. We're just beginning to scratch the surface, Hansol said, looking at the vast map of knowledge before them. Each solution opens new questions, new mysteries. That's exactly what the Guardian wants, Sujin replied, her eyes bright with understanding. It's not just testing our ability to solve puzzles. It's testing our readiness to see the bigger picture. Director Du Gyun Kang stood before the United Nations Security Council in New York, his presentation displayed on the large screen behind him. 2 months had passed since the discovery of the Universal Archive, and humanity faced its greatest test. The Guardian has presented us with a challenge, he explained to the gathered world leaders. We must demonstrate that our species is ready for the knowledge contained within the archive. This is not merely a scientific test, but a test of our wisdom and responsibility. In Seoul, Hansol and her team watched the broadcast. The laboratory had expanded to 3 full floors of the institute, with researchers from 20 different countries working together. Sujin sat at her usual station, studying the latest puzzle from the Guardian. The challenge requires a unified global response. Kang continued in New York. No single nation can solve this alone. The Guardian's words appeared on screens in both Seoul and New York simultaneously. The time of testing is begun. Your species must prove its readiness. New patterns flooded the quantum displays, more complex than anything they had seen before. These weren't just mathematical problems or physics equations. They required understanding art, music, biology, and philosophy, all at once. It's testing our ability to work together, Hansol realized, watching teams of scientists from different fields combine their knowledge. A musician worked with a quantum physicist, finding patterns that neither could see alone. A biologist and an artist discovered connections in the structure of DNA that matched ancient cave paintings. In New York, a Chinese delegate stood up. What happens if we fail these tests? The Guardian answered, failure is part of learning. But there is no going back. Once knowledge is gained, it cannot be unleared. You must prove you can handle it wisely. Tai Young, who had been quiet for hours, suddenly called everyone's attention. Look at this pattern. It's showing us something about our own history. The screens displayed a sequence that mapped human development, from the first use of tools to the present day. But it showed more than just technological progress. It showed how each advance affected society, the environment, and human consciousness. This isn't just about what we know, Sujin said, understanding dawning in her eyes. It's about how we use what we know. The Guardian wants to see if we can learn from our past. Jaiwon nodded, pointing to new data appearing on his screen. These patterns suggest future possibilities. Some lead to advancement, others to destruction. We have to choose the right path. Director Kang's voice came through from New York. The Guardian is showing us that knowledge without wisdom is dangerous. We need to prove we can handle both. The teams worked through the night, combining different fields of study in ways never tried before. A breakthrough in quantum physics led to new understanding in medicine. Patterns in ancient languages revealed mathematical principles that helped solve engineering problems. Your approach is unique, the Guardian commented. Most species attempt to solve each problem CPARATLY. You seek connections. Hansol looked at the diverse group of humans working together, sharing ideas across languages and cultures. Maybe that's our strength, she said. We don't just solve problems. We find new ways to look at them. The Guardian's response seemed to carry a note of approval. Continue. The greatest test is lie ahead, but you begin to HFY promise. Director Kang concluded his presentation to the UN. We face the greatest opportunity and the greatest challenge in human history. The question isn't just whether we can solve these puzzles. It's whether we're ready for what we'll find when we do. Dr. Min Ki-yoon walked briskly through the corridors of the Seoul Advanced Research Institute, his expression tense. As the government liaison for the Universal Archive project, he carried troubling news. Several nations had expressed serious concerns about continuing the tests. Inside the main laboratory, Hansol and her team were making remarkable progress with the latest quantum puzzles when Min-Ki entered. Director Kang looked up from his work, immediately noticing the worry on Min-Ki's face. Several security councils have voted to suspend the project, Min-Ki announced to the silent room. They believe accessing such advanced knowledge poses an unacceptable risk to global stability. Hansol stepped forward. But we've already learned so much. The medical applications alone could save millions of lives. The clean energy solutions could solve our environmental crisis. That's exactly what concerns them, Min-Ki replied. Such rapid advancement could destabilize the world's economic and political systems. Some leaders fear we're moving too fast. The Guardian's message appeared on the screens. FER of HFY as a common barrier for HFY species. This too is part of the test. Su-Jin, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. The Guardian isn't just giving us knowledge, it's watching how we handle it, how we work together, how we overcome our fears. Director Kang gathered the team for an emergency meeting. Representatives from 30 countries joined via secure video link. The tension in the virtual room was palpable. We understand the concerns, Kang began, but consider what's at stake. The archive contains solutions to problems we've struggled with for centuries. Climate change, disease, energy crisis. We can't let fear hold us back. A representative from Europe spoke up. The military applications alone could be catastrophic. What if this knowledge falls into the wrong hands? The Guardian interrupted. Knowledge is neutral. It is wieldy or who dte or remains its purpose. Your species must decide. Will you be ruled by fear or guided by wisdom? Hansol addressed the gathering. Every major advancement in human history faced resistance. Fire, the wheel, electricity, space travel. Each time, we had to choose between fear and progress. Tai Young added his perspective. The patterns we're decoding show how other civilizations faced similar challenges. Some chose fear and stagnated. Others chose wisdom and flourished. Min-Ki studied the data flowing across the screens. The latest puzzles weren't just about scientific knowledge. They showed how different civilizations handled rapid advancement, both their successes and their failures. Perhaps, he said slowly, this resistance is exactly what the Guardian expected. It's not just testing our ability to understand the knowledge, but our ability to handle it responsibly. The Guardian confirmed. Correct. Advancement. Without unity leads to chaos. Unity without advancement leads to stagnation. Balance is required. Director Kang turned to the virtual assembly. We're not just deciding the fate of a research project. We're deciding humanity's future. The Guardian is offering us a chance to solve problems that have plagued us for generations. Yes, there are risks. But there are also risks in remaining as we are. As the debate continued, Su-Jin noticed something in the quantum patterns. Look, she said, pointing to her screen. The Guardian is showing us something new. It's not just about the knowledge itself. It's about how we grow as a species while accessing it. The resistance wasn't just a setback. It was part of the process. The Guardian wasn't just testing humanity's intelligence or technological capability. It was testing their ability to overcome their fears and unite for a greater purpose. After 3 months of intense work, something changed in the Seoul Advanced Research Institute. Su-Jin Cho noticed it first, during her regular analysis of the quantum patterns. The Guardian's puzzles had grown increasingly complex, yet the solutions remained elusive despite their best efforts. Dr. Park, Su-Jin called to Hansol, who was reviewing data at her station. I think we've been approaching this entirely wrong. Look at this pattern. Hansol joined her colleague at the display screen. The quantum equations swirled in their usual dance, but Sujin had arranged them differently. Instead of trying to solve them through pure mathematics, she had mapped them to human experiences. The Guardian isn't testing our ability to solve these puzzles, Sujin explained, her voice growing excited. It's testing how we approach them. Every civilization before us probably tried to solve them through pure logic. Director Kang, overhearing the conversation, approached their station. What are you suggesting? Humans are different, Sujin continued. We don't just think. We feel. We imagine. We make unexpected connections. What if that's what the Guardian wants to see? Hansol studied the patterns with new eyes. You mean we should stop trying to solve the puzzles and start trying to understand them? The Guardian's message appeared. You begin to see the true purpose. Knowledge without uvndingis. Jai-1 joined them, bringing up historical data on his tablet. Look at human progress throughout history. Our greatest breakthroughs often came not from pure logic, but from creative leaps. Newton seeing gravity in a falling apple. Einstein imagining himself riding on a beam of light. The team worked through the night, completely changing their approach. Instead of treating the puzzles as problems to solve, they began exploring them as stories to understand. Each pattern became a window into different ways of seeing the universe. Taiyang discovered that some patterns matched ancient human art forms. Others reflected patterns found in nature. The spiral of galaxies matching the spiral of a seashell. The quantum equations weren't just math. They were poetry written in the language of the universe. It's beautiful, Hansol whispered, watching the patterns flow. We were so focused on finding answers, we forgot to appreciate the questions. The Guardian responded, Koari seat. The greatest disco is come note from CEKINGANSWRs. Booty from understanding QUEST. Suddenly, all the screens in the laboratory lit up at once. The quantum patterns began flowing in new ways, forming connections they had never seen before. It was as if the archive was opening itself to them. Your species, AKA's showing something unique, the Guardian announced. Others, so you cheat to MASTR, you seek to unend or stnd. This is the 8BR Horojui. Wui AAV awaited. Director Kang watched in amazement as new data streamed across the screens. We've been so worried about being smart enough to access the archive. We never considered that maybe it wasn't about being smart at all. It was about being human, Sujin said softly. Our curiosity, our creativity, our ability to see connections where others see only chaos. The Guardian confirmed. In all the HFYStories of this test, no species AKAs APPROACG this way. UAAV SHODON, they ekin can be undi or stuodu through juhi milori than lojasi alone. As the team watched, the quantum patterns began revealing new depths of the archive. But now they weren't just seeing information, they were understanding the wisdom behind it. Their uniquely human approach had unlocked something that pure logic never could. The morning sun rose over Seoul as the Guardian prepared to reveal the truth that had remained hidden for millions of years. Inside the research institute, Hansol and her team gathered around the main display, joined by Director Kang and representatives from the United Nations through secure video links. The time is QM2HHARE, the RCHIV's true purpose, the Guardian announced. The quantum patterns shifted, forming a complex three-dimensional map of the universe's history. For 12 million years, the Guardian explained, we have searched for a species worthy of becoming the next universal custodians. Many civilizations reached this point, all failed to understand the deeper truth. Hansol watched as the display showed countless advanced civilizations. Each had developed remarkable technology, solved complex equations, and mastered the physical laws of the universe. Yet something had been missing. These other species, Sujin observed, studying the data, they all approached knowledge the same way, as something to collect and store. They saw the archive as a library to be memorized. Koreki, the guardian, responded. They so UGT to poesies minododuleg, but you seek to unendiorstandate. This makes you unique among all who you a vive si omni beavor. Director Kang stepped forward. Are you saying that humanity's perceived weakness, our emotional and sometimes illogical approach to problems, is actually our strength? The quantum patterns formed new shades, showing how human creativity and intuition had led to solutions that pure logic had missed. The Guardian's response appeared. Your species combines logic with imagination, reason with emotion, knowledge with wisdom. This is what the ARCHIVHA is awaited. Tai Young, who had been analyzing the historical data, looked up from his screen. The archive isn't just a collection of information. It's alive, growing, evolving with each new discovery and insight. Yes, the Guardian confirmed. The RCHIV needs to custodians who can not only preserve but help it grow. Your unique way of understanding makes you ideal candidates. The implications of this revelation stunned the assembled scientists and officials. Humanity wasn't just being tested to access the archive. They were being evaluated to become its next guardians. Through all our tests, Hansol said slowly, you weren't just measuring our intelligence. You were watching how we think, how we solve problems, how we share and use knowledge. The Guardian's response carried a tone of approval. Your species is questiones, eve or I thing. Ce case, connections others miss, and find is beauty in understanding. These qualities make you worthy of DHERCHIV's greatest secret. The screens filled with new data, showing how human creativity and imagination could unlock potential that had remained hidden even from the archive's creators. Their unique approach to knowledge could open new paths of discovery that pure logic had never revealed. We're not just learners, Sujin realized, her eyes wide with understanding. We're teachers. Our way of seeing the universe could help future civilizations understand it in new ways. The Guardian confirmed. The ARCHIV is not just preserve the past. It shapes the future. Humanity's role will be to guide others, showing them to a true wisdom. Humanity's from understanding, not merely knowing. As the truth settled over the assembled humans, they began to grasp the enormous responsibility being offered to them. They would not just be recipients of the archive's knowledge, but its future guardians, teaching new civilizations the importance of combining logic with creativity, knowledge with wisdom. The greatest mystery of the universe had been unlocked not by humanity's intelligence, but by their unique way of understanding the world around them. 1 year had passed since humanity discovered the Universal Archive. The Seoul Advanced Research Institute had transformed into the Earth's first archive access center, with similar facilities under construction around the world. Today marked a historic moment, the first transmission of human knowledge into the archive itself. Hansol stood before the assembled International Council, her team beside her. The quantum displays showed the vast network of knowledge they had begun to explore and understand. But today, they would do more than learn. They would teach. The archive has given us access to technologies beyond our dreams, Director Kang addressed the council. But more importantly, it has shown us that our greatest strength lies in how we understand and share knowledge. The Guardian's presence filled the screens. UAVPREPAR do will FORTS a moment. The time is tion to add humanity's voice to the unive ERSL chorus. Su Jin had prepared the first transmission, a comprehensive record of how humans approached problem solving. It showed their unique combination of logic and intuition, their ability to find patterns in chaos, and their talent for seeing connections others had missed. "We aren't just adding facts and figures," Su Jin explained to the council. "We're sharing our way of thinking, our method of understanding. This could help future civilizations approach knowledge in new ways." The quantum patterns shifted as the transmission began. Human art, music, and literature flowed alongside scientific discoveries and mathematical breakthroughs. Each piece showed how humanity's creativity had led to deeper understanding. "Your tion tribution is unique," the Guardian observed. "Other species shared they knew. You share how you learn." Taiyang monitored the data flow, watching as human knowledge merged with the archive's vast collection. "Our method of teaching focuses on understanding, not just memorizing. We're showing others how to think, not just what to think." The Guardian confirmed, "This is what I were chosen. You will guide future civilizations, not just to knowledge, but to wisdom." As the transmission continued, Han Sol noticed something remarkable. The archive wasn't simply accepting their data, it was creating new connections, linking human insights with ancient knowledge in ways that revealed deeper truths. "We're not just adding to the archive," she realized. "We're helping it grow in new directions. Our human perspective is opening paths that pure logic never could." Director Kang nodded. "This is our legacy. Not just preserving knowledge, but showing new ways to understand it. Each civilization that reaches this point will learn from our example." The Guardian shared a final message. "UAVBGUN your JOURNEY SQUSTODIANS. Your task now is to prepare your species for this orally. Others will come. CEKINGVUAKAA. UAVFFOYOND. You must guide them wisely." As the transmission completed, Han Sol looked at her team. They had unlocked the universe's greatest mystery, only to find that the real adventure was just beginning. Humanity would no longer simply reach for the stars. They would help others understand them. "The archive chose us," Su Jin said softly, "not because we were the smartest or most advanced, but because we never stopped wondering, never stopped asking why. That's what we can teach others." The legacy of humanity would not be measured in the knowledge they gained, but in how they helped others understand it. They had become teachers in the greatest classroom in the universe, sharing not just what they knew, but how they learned to know it. The universe's greatest mystery had led to an even greater adventure, guiding future civilizations toward their own moments of understanding.